Edition number 4 of RaceSpot RaceDay is coming from Wisconsin, Elkhart Lake, Road America, the 4-mile racetrack that is often regarded as one of the toughest challenges in all of North American road racing motorsports. It's here, it's next. We start at the Formula Renault Sim Cup in just 1 moment's time, here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on iRacingLive. Good morning, race fans, and welcome to edition number 4 of RaceSpot TV RaceDay. We're here in Wisconsin, we're here at Road America, and we're just a few minutes away from getting going in the Formula Renault Sim Cup. Gonna hand it immediately over to Paul Smith, Johnny Simone. Paul, as we have a look at the championship standings, very interesting out front right now.
Yeah, certainly is. Good morning, everybody. Welcome along to this broadcast. And yeah, it's Simon Maria Marceno who's in the lead of that championship by 8 points ahead of Alex Sadler in second. Carlos Yavisa is in third place, not that far away, only 11 points off the leader, with Aurelian Talamon in fourth. Some very close championship standings. And Johnny, as we're heading to Road America, it's a track that you can overtake at, but it's not the widest of tracks either.
No, it isn't. And welcome everybody to a brilliant round of RaceSpot RaceDay. Surely today, turn number 1's probably your best option to overtake here. But if you don't get that done, look for turn 5 just after the Marine sweep. So plenty of options with all the slipstream in the Formula Renault as well. Considering it's not the fastest car you can really drive around this racetrack, you should be able to get someone with the braking distances here. But regardless anyway, you're also looking into Canada Corner turn 12. That's a good option if you can maintain a good line through the kink.
Certainly is. Well, we're just in the end of the warm-up session. Conditions on track. Well, it is clear skies here today, but it is a morning, so it is 75 degrees is the track temperature, with 69 degrees air temperature, so drivers should be getting some really fast lap times here today in this race. Of course, it is a 25-minute race, and well, these drivers will all be challenging for that race win. And well, you look at the first few rounds that we've had, Johnny, we've been having quite really good races, intense races in these cars, and we've seen some spectacular driving.
Yeah, we have. We've seen some consistent driving, no real mockeries in terms of performances either. But the Porsches have given us a bit more entertainment too. I feel like this track here at Road America, with these open wheelers, the dirty air will come to play. You feel like there's not going to be too much track action going on, but I think it's different when you go into a low-speed type of open wheel like the Formula Renault, where, as I said earlier, the overtaking will be slightly easier as well, just because you might be able to get them in the braking zones here.
Certainly will. So this track, as we've been mentioning, very high-speed sections on this track, and of course, as you mentioned earlier, some good overtaking opportunities. The tricky corner, I would say, is the downhill braking zone down the hurry downs into turn number 8, because you always seem to just snatch a break at the front there and really struggle to get it stopped for that left-hander before the carousel.
And you see some overtaking into there too as well for the Brave. Those Brave guys who dare to attempt an overtake maneuver into that turn 8 complex there will really light up the timing screens, light up the TV screens for everybody as well as the grid comes up now. Anyway, Paul, and we're ready for some good action.
Yeah, certainly will be. So here is the grid then. It's Joni Silvestri on pole position ahead of Scott Newton in second. Richard Arnaud in third place with Aurelien Talmont in fourth. Simon Maria Masson, the championship leader, is in fifth place on the grid with Alex Sadler, that second place driver in the championship, in sixth. Ollie Kvoka, good qualifying session for him, in seventh place with Vitakunas. Oh my goodness. Vajakunas in 8th place, Jarviza in 9th, and Dennis Guerrerson in 10th place. The rest of your grid, 17-car grid on the track here, so we're going to be looking forward to some really good close action for this race, and the drivers just getting up on the grid now, getting ready for this 25-minute race, as I said earlier. So it's going to be just a sprint race from the get-go. And all these drivers waiting patiently, waiting for the lights to come on. And when they do come on, they'll be all set for this race. So here we go then. The engine revs rise. We've got the green flag in the air. Oh, it's a good start. Aurelien Talmont got a good start, but then had to check up. Maybe got a little bit of a jump start there. So he's dropping back down the order. But it's a great start from pole position for Silvestri as we're going towards turn number 1 now. Tricky corners, get your braking right. There's seen so many instances in the past around here. There's got a car half spinning further back there, but able to carry on now. Everyone's just checking up towards the back, and there's a car in the wall. And that is Savati, who is running down the grass. He's not had the best of starts here, but going down the back straight now, we've got a bit of side-by-side action going on here, and it is for that third place there. And look at the field just finding out there, 2 and 3 wide, heading down towards turn number 5. Battle for second place still going on here, and it's Richard Arnaud who gets up, but there's an instant at turn number 5, and there's a car around. There's several cars around. The cold tyres catching drivers out. Troy Burgess was involved in that, and well, he's able to get going on that one. So everyone still able to keep going. I believe we've had one car also in the wall there at the back as well, but Phil Vaste, look at the lead. He's already getting out the front there. There's Mitchell de Jong, who's ended up taking a tour back to the pits, and Eric Martin, we've got another car around as well. That's Troy Burgess again, down at turn number 8. Chaos on this opening lap here, further down the order. Drivers still trying to sort themselves out. Scott Newton looking busy now. He's trying to get that third place from Masson, heading towards Canada Corner. Leaders going into Canada Corner now. Well, Scott Newton's just decided to stay behind for the time being. The queue of traffic, queue of 5 cars behind that second place driver of Richard Arnaud, as they're heading down towards turn number 14 at the end of this first lap. Really important to get your line right through here. Carry the speed through, because you're going to carry that speed all the way along this straight. You're going to get the slipstream. Got a car pulling off into the pit lane as well. That's Talmont heading onto pit road, but down in the slipstream. Look at this for second place. Marcelo looking to the outside. He's going to carry that speed. Is he going to make it in front? Yes, he is. Up to second place for our championship leader, Johnny.
Yeah, that's a good move there. The initial incident into turn 5, Vitakunas had a, well, it was a downhill braking zone. He had a rear lockup. So for him, that's what caused that little domino effect going into that corner that Maria Marceno and Arnaud coming up towards Paul. But that's a good move anyway there for P2 for Maria Marceno.
Yeah, and Scott Newton losing control there on the exit of turn number 2. Our race leader is checking out already at the front here, but Newton now trying to make some moves back forward and down the outside. Arnaud tried to make the move on second place as well, couldn't make the move. Scott Newton back in front of Alex Sadler, the man who's in second place in the championship at the moment. Well, he is down now to 5th place in this race, going through the turn number 7, down the Hurricane Downs to turn number 8. This group of 4 all together, and well, they're really all trying to work hard, trying to get past each other. and trying to make the move forward, but the leader, Silvasti, 2.5 seconds. He's got the lead there over second place with Marceno. And these guys all battling away, Johnny. They're all slowing each other down and allowing our race leader to just pull away.
Yeah, and that's just demoralizing for the rest of the field, because Silvasti's been in a league of his own this series, and once again this round he's already pulled out a big advantage. So whether or not these guys can catch up to him over the next 20 minutes is could be a hard task for them all. But here we go now, four-way fight for that second position. A couple drivers kicking up dust on the exit. They go through Bill Mitchell bend, blind corner, left-hander, and then braking in a straight line here, trying to trail brake too, just to open up the wide line into that final corner. And now you're onto the main straight. You can see Alex Sadler in P5 has a good run here on Newton, but Arnaud also has the same on P2.
Yeah, certainly does. Looking to do the same as what Simon did to him the previous lap, and this is what you'll get here at Road America, 2x2 as they're heading towards turn number 1. And Marcelo just holds on to that position, so too does Scott Newton as they go through turn number 1. There are the rest of the field is all pretty much spread out, really. Oleg Kvoka is battling away for 6th place as well. You can see that in the background, but these four, this is the main battle on track here as they're heading down through the Marine Sweep, through turn number 4, heading down towards turn number 5. Tricky braking zone this. You're downhill, you're in the slipstream, you try not to run into the back of the guy in front. Arnaud trying again, but can't do it. Oh, a little mistake there from Alex Sadler, having to get out of it, and he's just dropped back a little bit from this front group here, Johnny.
Yeah, the car just twitched on him on entry, and he tried to avoid Newton as well. I think the amount of speed that Sadler carried in to the entry of that corner, he would have maybe hit Scott Newton. Here they go on the run down to turn 8. This is what we're talking about. Only the brave overtake into here, and Newton just was able to carry the speed into there. And I think in these Formula Renaults, the only way you'll be able to overtake into turn 8 is if the guy in front just gets a terrible exit, because it's so difficult to remain full throttle through turn 7 with the dirty air as well. Oh no, though. Look how close he is through the kink as well. And he's right on the back of Mario Marceno.
Yeah, he took a big jink out to the left there. He's got the outside line as they're heading towards Canada Corner, but can he make the move? No, he's not. Scott Newton is under pressure as well, and Alex Sadler is going to make the place up on Newton. So up to 4th place now for Sadler. Arnaud still trying to get past Marceno. And, well, heading in towards turn 14, this is where you need to get that run, and look at the switching of that car of Marceno. There's a car off in the gravel. That was Scott Newton, so he's dropped down to 7th place now. Here comes Arnaud though, up the pit straight across the start and finish line, and I think if these two are at it all the way through this race, we're going to have a photo finish at the end of this one here, Johnny, as they're heading down towards turn number 1, and it is Arnaud who's going to get that move done. John Godfrey is battling away with Scott Newton as well, and Oleg Kvoka trying his best to get past your visor as well.
Yeah, they're very close, but that was on the exit there at turn 2. Maria Marceno went for the cutback, but Arnaud just planted the car in the middle of the racetrack. Didn't even have to move that much either. So here he goes though, round 2 for the fight. Maria Marceno has to take the outside line, and he squeezes Arnaud to the inside. Here we go, braking battle. Who's got the confidence on that with the left foot? And Maria Marceno on the exit picks up the throttle nicely, and he's back into P2 anyway for now.
But the thing is, with this track, with the slipstream being in such effect, these guys will just be swapping positions every lap here. And really, they're battling over that second step of the podium, because the race leader, 4.8 seconds ahead. Ioannis Silvasti, he's absolutely just, he's no trouble at all. He's just taking a nice Saturday drive.
Yeah, I was about to say, all this does is benefit Silvasti in the lead. So we'll check in again in 5 minutes' time. That lead may go up to just under 10 seconds if this carries on with this fight. But what this has allowed is Alex Sadler into the battle for those final podium positions, just because of the fact that Scott Newton went off into the final corner. Here we go into Canada Corner. I thought Sadler was going to... He does. He throws it up the inside. Brilliant pass there from Alex Sadler. And he's up into P3. He just seemed to he broke really well there, Paul, and he's like, I've got extra room here to turn into the corner.
Yeah, fantastic driving from Sadler there now, and he's got his sights set on the championship leader. These two, of course, first and second in the championship, the second and third in the race. Marceno realizes that he's got the slipstream behind. He's giving that slipstream to Alex Sadler as they go across the line once again, and they're going down this pit straight, and still they're not quite close enough. Cars behind as well. Jarveiser and also Kvoka, they're running pretty close together. No move made into turn number 1. Quickly run through your top 10 here. It is Silvasti at the front, 5.3 seconds ahead of Marceno. Sadler in third with Arnaud in fourth. Jarveiser then we saw in 5th place with Alec Kvoka in 6th. Scott Newton, he's dropped down the order down to 7th place with John Godfrey in 8th. Dennis Guerrerson in 9th place with Cody Bird. Rounded out the top 10 there. We've got a couple cars that are in the pit lane, 4 cars in fact in the pit lane, and out of this one, Aurelien Talmon, Vitakunas, Mitchell de Jong and Yuka Savate all out of this one, but Joni Silvasti at the front there, Johnny, he's just imperious. He won the last 2 rounds of this championship, the only 2 rounds that he competed in so far. He's going for 3 from 3 here.
Yeah, he's had a perfect season. Obviously didn't attend round number 1, but he's just flying away. 6.2 seconds the gap now. You look back at this battle for P2, that continues, and the more this continues, the more it allows Silvasti a comfortable advantage. Look at the defensive maneuver there from Maria Marceno. No need for that into the kink. And Arnaud picks it up behind as well with the dirty air. But here we go, round number 2 for Alex Sadler in the braking zone of Canada Corner, turn 12. Here they are alongside each other. Maria Marceno there maintains the position, and this is so difficult for Sadler because he has to defend and overtake at the same time.
It certainly does, and it's that tricky spot to be in that middle car in that battle, to be able to attack but also defend from the guy behind. And oh, Marceno running wide over the grass. He almost loses control of the car, does well to hold on to it. He's lost second and he's now down to 4th place in this run. And well, the guys behind will have seen that and gone, thank you very much. Let's see if we can get a tag onto the back of this group. Oleg Kvoka is making a move now as well on Jarveiser towards turn number 1. Last of the late breakers, and it is Kvoka who will make that move. Will he make it stick? The answer is yes, but he's going to have to go defensive possibly into turn number 3. No, he isn't. He's got that place stuck, so improvement for Kvoka. But what car control there from Marceno to hold on to that. It looked like the back end was just going to turn on him there, Johnny.
Yeah, ironically though, his bad car control led to the fact that he went off the racetrack, and then the good car control came in when he saved it. Here's Arnaud though.
Beautiful move down the inside of turn number 5 then, and that's a classic overtaking maneuver here. And well, Marceno right onto the back of Alex Sadler now, so Sadler back in the middle of these two, just the other way round from the car in front and the car behind. And we've got 2 groups of 3 here. We've got this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and then you've got the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th as well, all pretty close together. Dennis Guerrerson has been slowly clutching up to John Godfrey as well, so we'll keep an eye on that for you to keep you abreast of that one. But it's these 2 battles here going on, Johnny, that's giving us all the action.
Yeah, it is, and I feel like Quirker in P5, he's got way too much drag in that car, so he's just going to be on the back foot on every straight. And Jarveiser again, it looked like there he had a chance. Maybe he backed off the throttle, not sure, but he's very, very close. It seems like those 2 are either working together to fuel save or not take each other out, because just remember, Paul, if those 3 in front keep on battling the same way they do, and you know what I'm going to say here, it's going to allow the 2 behind of Quirker and Jarveiser into the fight for those final 2 podium positions.
Certainly is going to allow them to get in there, and well, that's what they want to do. They want to work together to get onto the back of these. And Arnaud now having to go weaving down the straight to try and break that slipstream. Marceno isn't following. Behind, you've got cars side by side as well, and that's Kvoka under pressure from both Jarveiser and Newton. Jarveiser makes it through. Newton's going to go down the inside as well. So Kvoka, in the space of 1 corner, has lost 2 positions there, Johnny.
Yeah, and look at Newton though. This would be a great recovery drive if he reels himself back into that that fight for those final podium positions. But he's lost the toe here to Yarveza in front, and Quoker's backing off. He's done that a few times as well in this race. The same for Yarveza.
Oh, battle for second. I know, having to go defensive. Oh, round goes Alex Sadler into Marceno. The two championship leaders make contact down the inside. Go the three cars behind. So Yarveza, Newton, and Kvoka all go through, and well, absolutely crazy, just down into that left-hander, and Sadler just gets a wheel onto the curb. It seems to bounce him up, and he locks the rears. Around he goes. Marceno has nowhere to go. Big drama there, and I think Marceno's got quite a bit of front wing damage as well.
Yeah, rear lockup, and Sadler had nowhere to go. He just tried to keep cars straight, because some drivers try to think you got to get out of the way, but that just confuses the drivers behind. Just unfortunate for Mario Marceno. He just had nowhere to go, and now he's all the way down in P7 with some front wing damage too, and that could really hamper his straight line speed. It could hamper his downforce through the corners. Depends how that reacts. But look who it's bumped up into the top 3 fight. Scott Newton.
Yeah, certainly Newton, and he's looking busy as well behind Yarveza. Arnaud is going to try and make a breakaway here, and it's important for these two cars behind, the 3rd and 4th place drivers, to keep in that draft, to keep in there. Oh, and Marceno, he's out. They've flipped 2 cars upside down there. Marceno had lost control on the exit of Canada corner, and who's he collected there? That is, it is Dennis Grierson. Oh, Dennis was having a really good race there. And, well, that's the end of that race for them.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why if yellow flags come out, which I don't even know if they came out, because Mario Marceno was in a half spin, you really need to slow down when there's an incident ahead, because Guerrerison's been unfortunately caught up in that. No fault of his own, obviously, but regardless, now this race out of nowhere, Paul, it was some brilliant battling. 10 minutes to go now as the timer ticks down past that 10-minute mark, and we've seen a couple of comical errors, a rear lockup and some mistakes there from Marceno. Maybe the damage had something to play there.
Possibly so. A little bit of damage there on his car causing that issue, but look at this now. Scott Newton, he's made it up to 3rd place, but they've dropped off the back of Richard Arnaud. Alec Kvoka, by the way, just losing the position into turn 6, not the most traditional place to make an overtaking maneuver, but Alex Sadler, he's on a recovery drive here. He's trying to make it back forward, but well, made it past Alec Kvoka. His next sights are set on Corollas Yarveza. And, well, Scott Newton, he's 1.1 seconds behind Richard Arnaud. He needs a couple of good laps here to try and just close up that gap to get that slipstream to draw him closer.
Yeah, it definitely does. There's 11.1 seconds. How would you feel about that if you were racing in this event, Paul? It's Quirker now alongside Alex Sadler there. He's had a roller coaster race. Quirker goes through to P5. But how would you feel if you're in this field and Silvasti's won every race? You can't do anything about it. It's got to be demoralizing in a sense.
We've just got to hope for a mistake from Silvasti at the front there, as Kvoka still having to go defensive on. Oh, Alex Sadler, he was squeezing him on the entry to turn number 14, but he's got the slipstream now as Sadler, and you would imagine it's going to be a matter of when, not if. The pulls out from behind as cars in front as well. Yarveza and Newton, they're battling away. They're not making the moves though, so it's Alec Kvoka and Alex Sadler. Alex Sadler, I think, does have a little bit of damage though on his car, and he's struggling for top speed here, and that's possibly affecting him down these long straights here, Johnny, and allowing Alec Kvoka to keep a hold of that position.
And he's lucky that Quoker, out of all people, is the guy he's fighting with, because Quoker, I felt like, had a bit of extra drag compared to everybody else, so there's something that's hampering his straight line speed, because he did struggle to get past Yarveza a couple times, and for some reason he was backing off the throttle, so maybe the slipstream is there to save fuel. But his Sadler into the bad memory corner here, turn 5 for Alex Sadler. as they go through nice and seamlessly. Goes for the cutback into 6. Blind Apex coming up. This is all about confidence through this corner. And look at the twitch there for Quokka. That just allows Alex Sadler through seamlessly. So good battle there.
Yeah, he did that last lap, don't forget, and it could happen again as they're heading down towards turn number 8. Quokka late on the brakes there, gets it on the apex. Nice move done there from Quokka. He's not giving up this fight yet. He can smell a podium here, because actually the front 3 of Vettel's pretty much spread out a little bit. Scott Newton is slowly catching up though to Richard Arnaud, so Newton absolutely on one. He can sense some good points here for Scott. It's not been the best start of the season for Newton, and well, he'll be hoping for a good result here today. Of course, as I say, our championship leader, he is out of this race, along with Dennis Guerrerson as well. We've only got 11 cars left from a 17-car grid, so really it's been a race of attrition early on in this race, and we've still got 6.5 minutes remaining in this one, Johnny.
But for Scott Newton, give him credit though, because he made that mistake at the final corner, dropped all the way down to P7, if I recall correctly. Yeah. And now he's in a fight for P2, which is pretty much the best of the rest, because nobody's beating Yoni Silvasti, who's obviously, as we know, in a race on his own. So Newton's got one more guy on his checklist, and then the other thing left on his checklist is finish the race cleanly. And this will, I think, be a good event for him. I'd walk away with a smile on my face.
Now, I've got a question for you, Johnny. How difficult is it when you're in the lead by such a margin to actually keep the car on a track? Because your mind can start to wander, can't it? When you've got such a gap, you're not under that pressure from behind, and you can lose focus quite easily, can't you, when you've got that much of a gap?
No, you can. I mean, I've had races before where you're leading by that much and you start to think about what you ate for dinner, and then, not trying to sound funny, that's actually what you think about. You think about what you're doing the next day, and you know, somebody you met during the week, like, oh, I might ask them out for a date or something. You see random stuff you shouldn't be thinking about in a race car. And then obviously you make a mistake and fly off the racetrack when you've got a 14, 15-second lead, which I've done countless times in my career too. So Sadler. Here's a battle though, Sadler.
Yeah, he's trying once again to get Oleg Quokka heading down towards turn 8. This is where Quokka got his position back. Not this time. Able to hold on to the position for the time being as they head into the carousel, turn 9 and 10. This long sweeping right-hand hairpin going downhill as well. Really, really good challenging corner for these drivers. They'll be able to go pretty fast through there with these Formula Renaults. Through the kink, absolutely flat out through there. 145 miles an hour on the exit as he's heading down towards Canada corner. Use the slipstream of the car in front. And not able to catch up is Alex Sadler, sorry, Scott Newton. That's the reason why I said Scott. He's caught up to second place now. Richard Arnaud, he knows he's under pressure here. He's got 4.5 minutes to hold on here. And with a lap time taking about 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes, it's about 3 laps to go then in this one. And here comes Scott Newton pulling out the slipstream, heading down towards turn 1, Johnny. And well, this one, you would think that Scott's going to make that move stick, although trying his best to hold on to position as Arnaud, but Newton makes it through. Now, will not Arnaud be able to get in that slipstream, use that draft to then give him the opportunity? Maybe he's done that deliberately so that when he's on the last lap he can make the move on that final lap.
Yeah, possibly, but he had no fight in the braking zone. He just gifted Newton P2 and by a wide margin, so it's going to be tough here from 3/10 back to close in. Although I say that, Arnaud has a shot here into the braking zone at turn 5. So make sure you spot your marker. That's the difficult part about Road America, with the brake marker so difficult to see. Sometimes you have to rely on track objects or the cones, and sometimes the cones can be kicked off by somebody in front, and you have to rely on something else.
Sadler and Quokka side by side through turn number 5 into turn number 6. Sadler's got the inside line. He's going to take that position. Now, will Quokka make that move back again? He's seems to have the slightly higher downforce, so he can carry the speed through the corners, break that a little bit later, down towards turn number 8. Quokka not able to make the move this time, and if you're Alex Sadler now, you're hoping that that's finally that position done, because you are now 6.2 seconds behind 4th place. I think really with the amount of time left, Alex Sadler, this is about as far as he's getting.
Yeah, you also hope that your left-hand side tyres are coping well towards the end of the event. Look at Quokka though through the kink there. He's got a great advantage here on Alex Sadler in terms of top speed. and he should be able to slot himself up into P5 seamlessly. Sadler's very confident under brakes though. 2.5 minutes remaining, Paul. Silvasti crosses the line now, so we should get a couple more laps in.
Yeah, 2 more laps of this race. And Arnaud is just dropping back a little bit from Scott Newton, half a second. They're going to come across the line here. And really, Arnaud, he's trying his best to keep in that slipstream. That's the thing about this first half of the lap. You can catch up a good chunk of that time if you just drop back, maybe make a little mistake later on in the lap, because that pit straight, the straight down towards turn number 5, you can really catch up a lot of that gap in the slipstream. Alex Sadler and Kvoka still close together, not able to make the move.
Yeah, not close enough. Although Sadler's going to have a good run past the Moraine sweep into that 5th corner. Here he goes through turn number 3. It's so easy to run wide there, and Sadler gets caught out by that. The exit doesn't open up. Look at Arnaud though, 1/10 behind Newton. God, that's close for that battle between P2 and P3.
We've had a spinner, Eric Osby Martin, spinner at turn number 1. And how on earth has he done that? He's done it all in himself. Just got a little bit of wheels on the grass and into the tyre barrier. He's going to try and carry on, make it to the end, but that's pretty much race run for him.
Yeah, that's turn 1 opens itself up slightly more than turn 3, but it's so easy to run wide there. And you want to be able to clip the inside curb, but he's just carried in way too much speed and maintained that, so he didn't back off the throttle. Just a slight touch of the grass caused that spin, and his race is effectively over. That car will struggle to make it across the line, but he'll try and stay in front of Cody Bird in P11 for that for those extra points.
Yeah, certainly will. Look at the battle at the front. Arnaud looking towards the inside. Not quite close enough to make the move yet, though, as we're heading in towards the final lap of the race. Silvestri's come out the final corner, so he's going to have one more time across the stripe. And
Arnaud spun.
Round he goes, Bill Mitchell-Benn is going to try and block the car of Yarvesa as he goes through, but Yarvesa makes it through. And well, big mistake there from Arnaud at Bill Mitchell-Benn. It's so easy to do, but look at the speed now that he's carrying because of it happening before the final turn, and he's back up to that 3rd place.
But does he have damage? That's my question. I don't think it doesn't look like he does. Look at Yarvesa now. He fights back with a slipstream advantage. Into turn 1, they both fight in the braking zone. Yarvesa goes for the cutback.
Sadler and Kvoka as well, looking busy side by side in towards turn number 1. Sadler not able to make that move yet. Oleg Kvoka doing a fantastic job. Richard Arnaud though, all over the back of Yarvesa as they're heading down towards turn number 5. Yarvesa taking a bit of weaving down the back straight here, down towards turn number 5. And Arnaud really looking to try and use the slipstream, try and get along side. He's not going to get it in towards turn number 5. Realistically, there's only one more opportunity for Arnaud to make that move, and that is in towards Canada Corner towards the end of the lap. Alex Sadler still is behind Oleg Kvoka as they come out of turn number 5, now heading in towards 6. So those two are going to be battling on right to the end of this race. It's a battle for 3rd place though. Yarvesa and Arnaud in towards turn number 8. No move done yet so far. Our race leader is heading down towards Canada Corner, so he's nearly at the end of his lap and the end of this race. It's not been the most intense race for a lot of these drivers. It's all been about survival as this one, and so far these guys have been giving us a good show towards the end of this race. Through the kink goes 3rd and 4th place. Arnaud not able to get close enough. Silvestri though heading in towards the final corner for the final time. He's going to come out of turn number 14. He's got the uphill section to go, and he's going to take another race win. 3 from 3 for Silvestri. What a fantastic run it's been from him. Across the line he goes to win this one. Scott Newton will end up in 2nd place. And, well, the battle for 3rd is going to go to the wire here. Oh, no, just running wide. He's not got the run that he needed as he heads up the hill. And it's going to be Yarvesa who's going to get that 3rd place ahead of Arnaud in 4th. Oleg Kvoka, he's going to come across the line in 5th place, managing to hold on to that position ahead of Alex Sadler. Well, John Godfrey taking a bit of grass tracking there in towards the final corner. And was that Scott McIntyre who made it through? So yes, change of position there on the final lap. Scott McIntyre able to move up a position. John Godfrey then dropping down a position there at the end of of the race. Troy Burgess running across the line in 9th place, and Eric Osby-Martin, look at the damage on the front of that car. Is he going to manage to keep ahead of Cody Bird? Well, the answer should be yes, because Cody Bird's got a lot of damage on his car as well. So those guys are going to come across in 10th and 11th places. Eric Osby-Martin comes through that final corner and he could breathe a sigh of relief. But, well, we'll be able to take you through those final standings then of this race. And it is Joni Silvestri who won this one by 13.7 seconds ahead of Scott Newton. Scott Newton, of course, had a big instant race, that spin at the final corner, dropping him down to 7th. Great recovery drive up into 2nd place. Yaveza in 3rd place, just ahead of Richard Arnaud, who finishes in 4th. 5th place for Oleg Kvoka, who manages to battle on and tape ahead of Alex Sadler in 6th place. Sadler, who had that big moment down into turn number 5, collecting championship leader Simone Maria Marceno. Scott McIntyre in 7th with John Godfrey 8th, with Troy Burgess in 9th and Eric Osby-Martin. We saw a big moment, turn number 1 towards the end of the race, finishes in 10th place for Cody Bird, the last of the runners, in 11th, with all the drivers out of the race. Grierson, Marceno, as we mentioned, who had that incident with Sadler, and then also a later incident with Grierson as well. Talbot, Vaisakunis, De Jong and Savate round out your field. And Johnny, it wasn't an intense race in terms of just non-stop pack action, but these Renaults still give you some fantastic racing and some good battle packs going on in that race.
Yeah, it did. A very difficult racetrack to master, both in terms of setup and driving style too. So these guys were caught out by it a few times. We saw on the first lap. We also saw what happened to Alex Sadler too, going into turn 5 with the lockups, the rear lockups too. So you got to adjust to that constantly. Left side tire wear, maybe not so much of an issue in a 25-minute race, but we will see in the big World Championship event later on that could really affect drivers on those one-stop strategies.
Certainly could affect those drivers indeed. And well, let's hand it back to Will, because Will, that was some fantastic racing, but of course we've got the Super Cup coming up, and if the first 3 rounds are anything to go by, those races were absolutely just insane.
Yeah, I've got to say, there was some really good racing. The Quokka versus Sadler battle, just to let you know, Quokka did end up winning out on that one. They were switching places so many times over those final laps. But also, before we talk about the Super Cup, I mean, Marcelo, you know, losing that race by himself. You know, there were a good number of unforced errors here today, Paul.
Yeah, I think the track conditions wouldn't have helped with that, with it being a cooler track, of course, 75 degrees track temperature. These Renaults, they don't like the track to be too cold, and they get very twitchy, and we saw a few drivers having a few twitchy moments. Marceno, of course, we saw have the moment out of the last corner, and then, of course, getting caught up in that instant at turn number 5 with Alex Sadler, and, of course, his own instant at Canada Corner as well. So a few errors from the championship leader, and all of this is just allowing others, Yalveza and Arnaud and Silvestri, of course, to be able to move up closer to that championship lead.
Yeah, we're going to step aside for a couple of minutes here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacingLive. We'll be back with more as we build towards the Super Cup in just 1 moment's time.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for a breast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Hey guys, Christopher Bell here. As you guys know, iRacing is coming out with dirt, and it's been a long time coming. So I'm here today to kind of show you around the sprint cars and hopefully give you some insight for whenever you first drive it. So here we are at Williams Grove, gonna go out and make a couple laps in the 410 wing sprint car. I'm on default setup with a gear change to a 522. As we roll out of the pits, you guys might notice that the car wants to pull left and you have to hold the steering wheel right to go straight. That's normal for a sprint car because you have so much stagger, it's always trying to turn the car left. Once you get up to speed, that goes away. Going down the straightaways, Williams Grove has really long straightaways and really tight corners. The big wings on the sprint cars, it always wants to pull you left into the corner, so it doesn't take much steering wheel input to get the car into the corner. A big key for the wing sprint cars is that they always like to go straight. They don't like to be too sideways, so the less steering wheel input you can have and the straighter you can keep the car, the faster you'll go. As the track slickens off, you'll be able to play with the setup to get the car driving even straighter yet. And that's a couple laps around Williams Grove. So here we are at Eldora Speedway. I'm on baseline setup with a gear change to a 511. As we roll out at Eldora Speedway, one thing that you'll notice is that the corners are really sweeping and it's almost a circular shape. The big thing about Eldora is just keeping that steering wheel straight. The straighter you keep the wheel and the less steering input that you give the car, the faster you'll go. The fast line around Eldora will be right around the inside wall in the corners and then with a big arc towards the outside walls down the straightaways. Then once the track slicks off, you'll be able to follow the groove up towards the outside wall where the famous Eldora High Line comes into play. So now we're at Volusia Speedway Park with the 410 wing sprint car. I'm on baseline setup with a 511 gear, the same as what we ran at Eldora. Whenever you roll out on the racetrack, you'll notice that Volusia is similar to Eldora. They have long sweeping corners and it's kind of circular in shape. At Volusia, whenever the track is fast, you'll want to be right down against the concrete wall in the corners with a nice big arc down the straightaway. Whenever the track starts to slicken up, you'll be able to follow the groove up higher and higher. Whenever you get into turns 3 and 4 though, the groove might get up onto the shelf, which is the flatter section of the racetrack, and then it becomes very difficult to exit turn 4 without getting into the wall. And that's just one of the characteristics of Volusia Speedway Park. Hope you guys have fun.
The dash.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpot RaceDay. Qualifying is currently underway for the Super Cup here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. In terms of qualifications, they've got themselves 3 minutes left to go. There you can have a look at the lap times as they stand so far. It is Bertolotti leading the way. 207.4 is his lap time right now. Roman Carl in second place, Jack Stegman in third. Drivers are continuing on their laps. Before we start fully thinking about the Super Cup, though, Paul, we have got Scott Newton from Apex Racing UK here.
Yeah, we certainly do. And Scott, an eventful race for you, it has to be said. Just talk us through that, because you started off well, you were battling with that lead pack going for the podium positions, and just a little mistake cost you, and you had to fight your way through. Just talk us through your race.
Yeah, hello gents. Yeah, definitely. At the start, I wasn't sure whether it was one of the Aurelian. I think it might have been Aurelian that might have jumped the start, so I was just wondering what he was doing, but yeah, that caught me off guard and forced me a couple of positions back. And I was battling behind Alex Sadler, trying to make my way through the final corner, and yeah, just missed the braking point. Luckily not to hit him, and was back in 7th, but yeah, I was pushing as hard as I could to get back up into the paddock spots, and managed to do so.
And of course, there were a couple of incidents that helped you sort of make your way forward, but still, fantastic effort. Just the conditions seemed to be a little bit tricky with it. Yeah, it was clear skies in the, but you know, the track conditions just seem to be a little bit cold, and a few of the drivers seem to be struggling with it with this Formula Renault.
Yeah, definitely. Luckily, I had a previous race earlier today that was similar conditions, but in overcast. So I was kind of used to the conditions, but also I had the setup to back me up, and luckily I was able to snatch that second place on off Richard with a couple of laps to go.
Well, that's it, and we saw how close Rick was getting to you as well towards the end of that race. Looking at your championship as a whole, first 3 rounds been solid, not the best of starts really. You were in 9th place in the championship going into this round, so that second place will have really given you a good bump in points there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's 34 points I get for second. I had an average sort of weekend into Lagos, but then the following 2 races were not the best. So yeah, just looking forward to the further races ahead.
Well, that's it. Next up, it will be the high speed of Monza as well. What's the challenges with this Formula Renault in this one?
Yeah, definitely low downforce. It's going to be very, very tricky depending on the conditions. Going to be lots of fun battles and lots of overtaking, so should be a good one.
Okay, so yeah, so let's just anyone you want to give a quick mention to just before we let you go?
Yeah, just want to give a huge shout out to all the guys at Apex Racing UK and all the sponsors, Leo Bodner, Sim Steering, St Peters PC Systems, Elite Driver Services, and JSL Sim Racing. So yeah, cheers, fellas.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Scott Newton, and good second place in that one. Hand you back to Will then.
Yep, qualifying over then for the Super Cup. We saw at the very end Jack Sedgwick, and Petri Cotavara moved themselves up a number of positions, the P2 and P3 respectively. So that is going to be the story in a couple of moments of time. We've got ourselves about 20 drivers, 20 or so drivers to be participating in that one in a few moments time. But Johnny, it'll be about 10-15 minutes now until the race. These guys will have their first opportunity to really get to know this track in these current conditions.
Yeah, so it's good enough anyway. It's going to be a long time. Like, regardless, most of these guys just want to get back out there and just race straight away. So anytime you're waiting for something is the worst part about it.
Yeah, so there we are. Super Cup's going to be starting. Paul, what time does the race start here again? Quarter two,
yes.
UK time. So in about it's 18 minutes time. But whilst I run around doing administrative business, as we like to call it, let's talk about the Super Cup series so far, because Paul, Johnny, it really has been fantastic racing. It's the depth of field, the quality of the closeness of racing has just been insane.
It certainly has been absolutely insane, and battling all the way through from first right down to the mid-pack. It's certainly been great racing. We've seen how close the times are between drivers as well in this car, so really good to see the close action. Field a little bit depleted, but I think that's because, of course, there is the Nürburgring 24 hours coming up, so a few of the drivers may be just deciding, you know, we'll miss out this round just to keep our focus on that, but which of course you can watch on iRacing Live, don't forget that. But yeah, it's been a really good season so far. Jared Filsell has been the class of the field, but it's not been an absolute domination by him. Yes, he's won the 3 races, but Johnny, he's had challenges all the way.
He has. So he wasn't in qualifying anyway. He may not be here this round, and it opens the door for somebody else to take honors and take the win possibly at Road America, take the first win of the season for somebody other than Jared Filsell, I meant to say. Bertolotti's been quick. Cotavara behind, former World Championship driver as well in the Williams, that was, before the McLaren came into play. The field's, it's all to play for here today. Close field, lots of slipstreaming involved, large braking zones in the Porsche, and that's why we've had brilliant racing. This car is built for motor racing.
It certainly is, and it's it's a fun car to drive as well in this on this service as well. Don't forget, you can get the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. It is available on iRacing, which is I've been having fun in the car, even though I'm terrible in it.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that. I don't want to insult you. I insulted you too much last round about a few things, so this round we'll keep it neutral. But no, it is a fun car to drive. I mean, when I say it was built for motor racing, obviously it's a Porsche 911 GT3. You know, it's not like you just grab the stock model from your local Porsche dealership. But regardless, anyway, the field, we've got some brilliant talent here. Oscar Mangan, a good name to mention. Vedran Kral, Bruno De Carmo, two guys I've seen a lot in sim racing over the past couple of years. Those guys are insanely quick. And there's even a couple guys down the back of the order not setting times. We've got Ricardo Chavion, Scott McIntyre, Dane Warren, and let's see if they can make their way up to the field seamlessly. And it could really stagnate the pack if they don't, or that could really stagnate themselves, sorry, if they don't make themselves through the pack.
And one man who is in this field who can't seem to get himself out of GT cars, Will Tregurtha, who I was watching racing the British GT Championship on Easter Monday down at Alton Park. He had a good couple of rounds there in the Ginetta, I believe it was. It was driving in the GT4 division of the British GT Championship. So keeping his eye in with his racing here in the Super Cup, and certainly be interested to see how he gets on today. He's about 1.4 seconds off of the pole time, but to be honest, around this track, that's not that much really, because it is a long old track as this.
No, it is. Road America, very long, and the Formula 1 cars later on will be doing around the mid-130s range, so the Porsches very close to Formula Renaults, has to be said. These cars are pretty quick, and that was the same at Montreal too. So Will Tregurtha, as you mentioned, a very good British GT racer. We had Lando Norris here last week too, who pulled off some, I don't want to say optimistic, but they were very, very, very hard overtakes to pull off if he managed to get them done. So he's a good talent though, McLaren young driver, and there's a reason why this Porsche attracts some good drivers, because it's such a challenging car to drive, and that's why it's fun.
Of course, myself and Will Vincent saw him win a race in the Euro F3 Championship at Silverstone the Friday before the World Endurance Championship. A really good drive from him, considering that he only really had to race half the race because the rest of it was behind safety car. Yeah,
the first half of that race was pretty much safety car after safety car after safety car after safety car. But yeah, overall, it was a really good race. And actually, if we have a look at the championship standings real quick for the Super Cup, though, you notice that Jared Filser does have the advantage here, Paul. But behind, it's close between Williams and Heikkinen, close between Bertolotti of Pole Sitter, Klaus Kivickas, Tommy Osgaard, for example. So there's a lot of wriggle in. One bad race in this series will really, really hurt you.
Certainly can. And of course, there's no drop rounds as well, is there, in this series? So, yeah, you have to be in it to win it. And Gerard Filsell missing this round, maybe feeling that he's able to, and with a 19-point gap, he obviously feels confident enough that he can pick it up with the rest of the races in this series here, Johnny. Yeah,
it's funny how only one driver in the top 10 in the championship's actually here, and he could possibly take the race win. That's Mario Bertolotti. So that could really do well for his championship charge. Patrick Cottavara, I have to say, not that I'm trying to, kiss his backside here, but he's a very strong driver. He's been very strong in the World Championship too. He's quite popular within the community as well, so a very liked figure and a very liked personality. And the guy's so strong. Have you seen him? I reckon he could bench the most out of anyone in this field if you put him in a gym. That guy is
no. You don't need to put him in a gym. He lives in a gym, Johnny.
He does live in a gym, and he's probably a year away from looking like a cloud too, Paul.
I don't know. I think with Johnny, you could challenge him possibly with you going down to the gym as well.
Yeah, I almost came late to
the Formula Renault broadcast. Dunk, everyone.
No, let's not bring that up. You got to do it though. I don't want to bring on a little subliminal segue here. In terms of sim racing fitness, it is so important. And Paul, there are races where you do a lot of endurance racing. You actually drop a few drops of sweat sometimes, and not just because you're just sitting there on the chair, but there's so many movements as well, and the nerves as well start to build up, and you do need to be sort of physically fit in a sense. Not dramatically, but you do need to be a little bit.
Well, speaking of endurance events, and this is where I do my cheap plug.
Here we go.
It is, of course, the Nürburgring 24 hours today at 1:30 GMT. Well, around that time is when the race starts, so we'll be on there on iRacingLive and RaceSpotTV from about 1:20 GMT for that event, and that's going to be just it's a killer because you have to concentrate for so much of that lap, and I will be hoping to compete in that race as long as my teammates don't crash as well. But yeah, make sure you check it out. It's going to be right across RaceSpotTV. Also, our friends at GSRC and V8 Online are going to be helping us out as well
and
overnight.
then breakfast with Will Vincent and Paul Matthew Smith.
Oh yes, of course, our breakfast show, of course, tomorrow. We'll be bringing you all the actions right to the end of that, so it's going to be fantastic racing. Once again, the Nürburgring always provides us some great racing, and that 24 hours, you never know who's going to win it until the end.
Yeah, indeed, so fantastic stuff we've got coming up then. 24 hours of the Nürburgring, from one plug to another plug. Don't forget, the month of May is coming up. And we have got not one, not two, but three fantastic Indy 500s to bring you. The first one is the Apex Infotech Indy Elite Series Indy 500. It's kind of the start of the month of May, and it will be where the guys really psych each other out. That is on May the 7th. The following week from that, we got ourselves the classic IndyCar Series Indy 500, running on the older IR05 machine then. Mark your date, Saturday, May 20th. It is the biggest date in sim racing. It is the annual iRacing Indianapolis 500 for the 8th time. The drivers will do 800 corners, 500 miles in pursuit of virtual immortality. We are going to step aside for a few moments here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive. Get ourselves ready for the Super Cup. That one is next.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
You wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV Race Day here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. It is now time for the RaceSpotTV Super Cup. And this is arguably one of the best races we broadcast all week long. Wilkinson, along with Jonathan Simone and Paul Smith. And, well, Paul, it's that situation now where we're going to be ready for high-octane, fast-paced racing every corner, every lap.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic racing. I'm looking forward to this one. These cars, they'll go well around here. Of course, there's quite a bit of GT racing goes on at this circuit as well. So these cars suited to this type of track. And, well, everyone will be looking forward to getting a good race here. And this one certainly will be a challenge for those championship leaders, hoping to get some good points towards the end of the season here. Well, certainly going to be good. And Johnny, we've been saying in the Formula Renaults in the Sim Cup about the challenges of this track. These Porsches, they've got slightly long, well, I say slightly, quite a bit longer braking zones heading in towards those tight corners of turn number 1, 5, and of course turn number 12 as well are going to be the key points. These guys are going to have to be brave on the brakes here, and it's all about who can modulate that braking to get the most efficiency out of them.
Yeah, it is. It's about confidence too, and it's about how much practice you put into braking. So a lot of the time drivers are afraid that the car's going to lock up, and that just depletes their confidence entirely. So that's a big difference for them anyway. But not a simple circuit, not too difficult either. You just have to manage the left side tire wear due to the incredible number of right-hand side corners, and or, sorry, I should say fast sweeping right side corners. And at the same time, the best overtaking spots we spoke about, it doesn't change from the Formula Renault to the Porsches. Turn number 1, you look at turn 5, the downhill braking zone after the marine sweep. Then you got Canada corner, turn 12. And don't forget, Paul, we've seen drivers go side by side across the line to finish a race. So if on the final lap you don't get it done into Canada corner, maybe have a look across a drag race finish across the start-finish line.
Yeah, certainly you get some fantastic finishes towards the end of races there, and I know we touched on the championship standings before we went to the break, but we'll have a look at them again. Jared Filsell is in the lead of the championship, 19 points ahead of David Williams, who's in second. Joni Häkkinen in third, 1 point behind David there. Mario Bertolotti in fourth place with Klaus Kivikas fifth. Tommy Osgaard sixth with Evan Milliard in seventh. Jack Sedgwick in eighth with Jussa Haitala in 9th. 10th place is Mark McDonald. So really close championship standings there. In fact, Matt McDonald and Christian Thaler-Zuch both on equal points there in the championship. So really close standings there. I mean, you look at it, the top 6 covered by 40 points there, Johnny. You miss around and, well, it could be disastrous for your championship here.
Yeah, it definitely could be. So let's see what happens anyway. We did get sort of caught out before. A lot of those drivers in the top 10 were in another secret qualifying session that we're not good enough to be in, Paul. So that's why we weren't allowed to be invited to that private session. But they're going to be racing anyway, but still no Jared Filsell. So the championship leader and that advantage could be depleted come the end of the race. Grid time now.
Well, it'd be good if I could see the grid. So at the moment... So yeah, so we can't see it yet, so we'll be bringing you that in about 3.5 minutes. The grid will be able to give you that, but some good drivers out there, as we were mentioning earlier on, and well, everyone's got an opportunity here. We saw one little mistake, like we saw in the Formula Renaults, down into that turn 5, could affect more than one person there.
No, it could bring that domino effect into play. That's what you don't want to do. There's a few things you don't want to do in sim racing. Somebody asked before the race, I'm not going to name them, how much fuel they need for this 30-minute event, and that's always worrying. Anytime somebody said that in a race I was in, I'd always give a number lower than what you need, Paul, so I'd laugh when they'd run out of fuel on the final lap.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Yeah, there, Johnny. Gallons, litres, what would you give it in?
Oh, I never use gallons. I don't even know what that is. Is that measuring distance? What is gallons? I've always been a litres guy.
Measure of volume is...
No, I know, but I've never used gallons. No, I've always been in the open wheelers. So the open wheelers, you're always using kilograms or litres, and basically there's not too much of a difference in numbers between those two.
Kilograms is weight, though. Because volume can change with temperature, of course.
No, of course. But we talk about... No, you're getting too smart on me.
What you get here on RaceSpot TV is a very basic education on the difference between weight and volume. That's what we get here.
All you need in sim racing is to understand how many kilograms you're using per lap. It's not simulated to the point where it changes volume from lap to lap. just get the amount of liters you need in kilograms, and you do a practice lap, and that's it. Then you multiply it by the amount of laps you predict to do.
And that's why I don't drive that much, because I just put fuel in and hope for the best. You could go the other way, Johnny. Rather than have them running out of fuel, you could tell them to absolutely brim the tank and then have them carrying excess weight.
Yeah, nah, well, I'm just very...
Why are we giving away our secrets here?
Yeah, let's not do it. I've got so much to hand out that it's... well, our careers are over, Paul. That's why we're in the commentary room.
Well, yours might be. I'm still a race winner from this week, so thank you very much. I don't want to bring it up. But yeah, we're heading into the last minute of warm-up, and these drivers, they'll be looking at the conditions, actually. Here's a good point. Clear weather once again, 71 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's gone up 2 degrees Fahrenheit air temperature. Track temperature, 77 degrees Fahrenheit, so again, it's a cold track here. And as we're heading into the last sort of 13 seconds of the warm-up, Johnny, how's that going to affect these drivers?
Well, it's not going to affect them in warm-up, obviously. You know, the track is carried over to the race anyway in terms of grip and everything. So if you are taking abnormal lines into corners, you do want to grip that up as much as possible in this session. Apart from that, though, you've got 30 minutes of the race to make up for any errors regardless. Track temperature, that was actually an interesting point. You had pressure on you there to bring that up. But having a track temperature of 25 degrees is going to be so easy on these tires, and that's so critical around Road America. The amount of fast sweeping right-handers, it takes its toll on those left side tires. So really hard to balance. But hopefully we can look at the grid in a second's time.
Yep, so let's go and take you through your grid then for this round 4 of the Super Cup. And it is Klaus Kivikas who is on pole position ahead of Joni Häkkinen in second place. David Williams then, and the second row is in third with Tommy Østgaard fourth. Mario Bertolotti, the man that we were looking at in the other qualifying session, he's in fifth place with Petra Cotravara in sixth place. I'll get there eventually. Jack Sedgwick in seventh place. With Vedran Krell in 8th, Bruno Ducamo 9th, and Juuso Haitala in 10th place. Some big names out there. Oscar Mangan just in 11th place there. Neto Nascimento down in 14th. So we've got a good field, 22-car grid here, Johnny. And just quickly, who is your thoughts for the race win?
Oh, Kivikas looks strong. I don't mind Häkkinen, though. He's always been strong in the Porsche. And look out for Petteri Cotavaro, Bertolotti behind too. And don't forget Tommy Østgaard, David Williams. So the top 6 here are very, very strong.
Okay, getting set for the start of this race, and the engine revs rise. We're all set for the race. Looking towards the country. The green light is on. Away we go from the start then. And it's a good start then from pole position. Down towards turn 1. Look at the field just packing up towards the back there. All going, trying to fight it out towards turn number 1, in towards turn number 1 now. And they're still side by side, Kivikas and Häkkinen. And well, is everyone going to do? Oh, there's a car in the wall. We've got cars in the gravel. Big incident at the start here. Dwayne Warren, the safety car is out. Dwayne Warren, Lashov, Bruno Ducamo involved in that one as well. Big incident early on in this race there, Johnny.
Yeah, and Bruno Ducamo, I was watching it from the corner of my eye. It looked like there was a tap between Cotavaro and somebody else, and that forced Ducamo to slow down, and then he got taken out by somebody behind. So just a chain reaction there. No one really at fault. It was just 3, 4, 5 cars trying to go into the first corner all together.
And this is what happens with the circuit. It's so tight, so difficult in towards that first corner. We said about the width of the track with the Renaults. And well, these cars are bigger cars than those Renaults. And well, you can afford to get the shoulders out a little bit in this car. But still, the slightest contact around there, rear end, the rear right wheel, unweighted, and around the go there.
Yeah, and now you look at the moves and shakers throughout the field. So Cotavaro with some damage is all the way down in 13. Cedric, who got an amazing start, was just boxed in. He had nowhere to go off the line. So he's currently in 6. He takes over that spot from Cotavaro, who unfortunately was involved in the incident early on. But basically the top 5 not changed at all. So you've got Kivikas, Häkkinen, Williams, Østgaard, Bertolotti. And I think right now anyway, I think these guys just want to get this caution period over and done with and get on back to racing.
Well, this is it. They're all trying to get round to get to the iRacing pace car. Just waiting at the end of the pit lane, and they'll pull out once the leaders get on to the start finish straight and pick up that safety car. And well, we'll be able to have a look at your standings then as they go across the line. And it is, of course, Klaus Kivikas who's in the lead of this one. Second place is Joni Häkkinen. Third place, David Williams with Tommy Osgaard in fourth. Mario Bertolotti in fifth with Jack Sedgwick in sixth. Courage in seventh with Hatala in eighth. Will Tregurtha up to ninth place for a start 15th, so he's one of the beneficiaries of that turn one instant. And Oscar Mangan in 10th place. And well, Petra Kotavara down from 6th to 13th in that one. Graham Quinn, look at that, from the back of the grid up to 14th. So it just shows how an instant like that in mid-pack can really shake up that field.
No, it can definitely. You just have to be patient near the back. And if you're too patient, obviously, you won't make up too many spots. So he's obviously placed his car into those open positions on the first lap, and he's got probably a bit lucky as well with other drivers having to get onto the brakes, and he's just sailed his way through. So he's got to take advantage of it here. That's only step one for his race. Good start. And now he continues anyway. Kotavara having some words with Kral about that first turn one incident. So anyway, I don't think any of these drivers right now are happy trolling around behind the pace car, but regardless, it's just about keeping a mindset here anyway, Paul, because that final corner, if you don't get a good run out of there come the restart, I mean, that's just going to be seriously difficult. If you're Klaus Kivikas and you get swept by 2-3 drivers behind, that, well, I don't even want to think about that.
Well, I mean, this is the beauty of this track. Okay, so we've got the safety car here, so we're going to lose a few minutes of race time here. So these guys, they're all going to be battling it out a bit harder to try and get the positions, especially the people who that fell down the order a little bit with that turn one instant. And well, these guys can get caught up in incidents. Of course, the old saying from America, cautions breed cautions, and hopefully we don't see enough of caution with everyone starting just one in a row, so not going side by side on the restart. Yeah. Should at least hopefully have a little bit of clean racing, but that slipstream, it's going to count so much going up that pit straight, and if Klaus Kivikas is not careful, he could get absolutely swamped going in towards the turn one.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. So you've got to be mentally strong come the restart, not be too nervous, just have to pedal away and do your stuff. 25 minutes remaining now, and we know who's we know who's physically strong in this field. That's Petteri Kotavara. He can bench press the most, but it's about finding who the mentally strong drivers are. And like sometimes you speak to drivers at the start of a race or even in qualifying when they're nailing a lap and they come towards the end of their lap, their legs actually start to shake sometimes for some of those mentally weak drivers, and they talk about trying to really overcome that. It's so difficult. You go into breathing techniques, you go into that little secret confidence or secret arrogance, even if you want to go that far, that you got inside of you, and that all makes a huge difference to your mental strength.
Yeah, I mentioned it sort of years ago when I first started doing commentary, when I was doing a lot more racing than I do now. Yeah. It's that mental strength that you've got to have, and that if you've not got the confidence, you know, if you've had a few bad races and you've not quite got the confidence, and you find yourself in the lead, you start overthinking situations. You start thinking, oh, what if I do this? What if I do that? And before you know it, you talk yourself into a mistake, and that costs you the position. So it's having that confidence in your ability and knowing, even if you've had a bit of a bad run, it's knowing, no, I've got the ability to do this. I'm just going to keep focus here and keep going. The lights are off on the pace car, so just one more lap of safety car running. Drivers just doing a little bit of weaving as well, trying to keep a bit of heat in the tyres. We mentioned the track temperatures, Johnny, and we said it was a little bit cooler. And well, it's important to get your temperatures up towards the end of this lap, so then you feel confident, especially in the brakes. You want the brake temperature to be there, so going into that turn one, you feel confident hitting those brakes.
Yeah, to me, brake temperature is more important because there are sometimes drivers weave so much that they do more damage to tire wear than actually heating them up would be an advantage, if that makes sense. So you don't want to do that at all. Brakes, though, are so critical going into turn one. You spot your marker, and if you take an extra 25 meters to brake and you're off into the grass, there's nothing you can do about it from then on in. But you say one more lap with this pace car. It's about 3.5 minutes after you cross the line to begin, and let's see what we can do. Will.
You know what the funny thing is, Johnny? You know when you're talking about how you deliberately give someone a low fuel number?
Yeah.
That'd be golden right now.
It would. It would. So for those guys who might have trolled the other guy who asked for how much fuel you need for the race, could have bit them back on the backside, Paul.
And that's it. And that's why you never tell anybody how much fuel to use in the race. You just flat out don't say it. But yeah, Will, you had a good view of that first incident. It was pretty much a classic Road America Turn 1 incident, wasn't it?
Yeah, the track comes together so quickly. It's very narrow down there. What you'd often see in endurance racing, and you'll see in the World Championship Grand Prix Series later on, is that if you come out of pit road, you really have got to hold that inside line into turn number one. But there's only really 2.5 lanes down there. We saw him going 3 abreast into the corner. Petro Cottovari, he did go off, did rejoin. Some would argue that was a little bit aggressive on him rejoining there. Was able to keep that car going, but half the guys kind of stacked up because of the first incident and going 3 wide, Cottovari going off. And then it just kind of concertinaed into one.
Yeah, and what will be fascinating to see how he now comes through that field. That's going to be the really big point of this race, other than the battle at the front, as we're almost at the kink, so we're nearly at the end of this final lap of caution. And, well, Johnny, what's the key? What's the key to a restart round here? Is it backing everyone up so that you can get the run out of that final corner?
You want to accelerate when everybody else is turning into a corner. So you want to make sure that you accelerate when everybody else still has to straighten the car up, and that can really catch them unaware.
Certainly some good tips there for anybody who's maybe never run behind a caution from the front behind a caution. So yeah, definitely. I'm surprised to see Klaus running so close to that pace car there, because it means that if they run still this close heading into that final corner, it means that he'll have to wait until that pace car pulls off to the right on the pit road, and it's a steep hill as well. You want to be carrying as much speed as you can up that pit straight, because if you're having to accelerate at the bottom of the hill, you're really going to affect yourself going in towards turn one. But here we go then, in towards that final corner. We're waiting for that pace car to peel off to the right hand side. Klaus holding the field. He's going to still hold it. He's still holding it. Now he's going as he's halfway up the hill. The green flag will shortly go in the hour. In fact, we're away racing once again. We've got about 20 minutes remaining in this race as we head on down towards turn number one once again. And well, the cars behind are fanning out a little bit, just going in too wide in towards turn one. But everybody so far keeping it nice and clean, keeping it safe on this restart. So no need for another caution yet. Heading down towards turn number 3 now, and it's Heikkinen trying to put the pressure on Klaus Kivikas, and gets a good run through turn 3. Kivikas onto the grass there on the exit of turn number 3, heading down the moraine sweep now underneath the bridge, heading downhill towards turn number 5. It's important to get your braking right into this corner. Kivikas is going to be compromised, having to hold that inside line. Heikkinen trying to run it around the outside. He can use the curbs. They're on the outside of that corner to get the good run. Heading in towards turn 6 is still side by side in towards turn 6, and Heikkinen just getting it all wrong on his braking. Round he goes. So Kivikas holds on to that position, holds on to second place though does Heikkinen, because David Williams just can't quite get past Heikkinen. Heading down towards turn number 8 now, and now Williams is under pressure from Tommy Osgaard, who now is under pressure from Bertolotti. So great racing early on here on this restart, and look at that now, all that battling has allowed Kivikas just to pull away a little bit at the start of this restart then, Johnny.
Yeah, and Williams is struggling for tyre grip, so I think those tyres are very, very cool on that Quanta SimSwap Porsche, and he just had so much understeer at the restart, because he should have been in front of Heikkinen now. The amount of mistakes that Yoni made in P2. So David Williams, hopefully those tyres are up to temperature.
Heading in towards Canada corner. Oscar just looking on Williams, deciding against it for the time being. We had a little bit side-by-side further back, and it's Oscar Mangan and Hightower heading in towards the end of the lap bit Mitchell Bend. Through the left-hander, Mangan makes it ahead of Hightower, and here comes Will Tregurtha as well, coming into this battle as well. The two Apex cars working together, trying to work their way through the field, up the hill towards the end of the lap then. So at the end of this lap, lap 4 of this race, it is Kvyat in the lead, Häkkinen second, Williams third, Oscar fourth, Bertolotti fifth, Sedgwick sixth, Crouch in seventh, eighth Mangan, ninth Hightower. The Hightower looking to the outside of turn number 1, Mangan just squeezing him there, and here comes Will Tregurtha looking to get the move, and bang! Contact around, he goes into the wall. Big instant. Hightower, he's going to be out. Tregurtha is across the track. Oh dear, and that's caused a big instant further back in your field.
Goodness me, I'm not sure what happened there with Tregurtha. He just kept on the throttle despite the driver in front was spinning, so Tregurtha just probably caught unaware by the fact that the driver in front was very, very slow. And wow, that's caused a huge incident. It also collected someone. I wasn't sure. Was it an orange car?
Well, Santana's out. Nascimento as well. Oh, we got a spinner at turn number 6, and that's Tommy Oscar, the man who was battling for that 4th place. He's able to get going again. Oh, big instant for him. He's dropped down the order, so Williams now up into 3rd place, and he's going to be trying to push forward towards Häkkinen to get him off the back of his teammate Kvyat, because Kvyat actually is not pulling away in this one.
No, he's not. So one guy out of the battle, and that makes it a 5-horse race for the lead, because those top 5 are only separated by 2.1 seconds. That is so close between all of them. But Kvyat now pretty much has the least advantage out of anybody in the top 5, as Häkkinen now closes in at Canada corner through the right-hander on the throttle nicely between both of them. This is the difficult one here, Bill Mitchell Bend. Very hard to get your turn in right. You don't want to run wide here. You're always optimistic as to how much speed you can carry in there, and you always carry too much. That's just how that corner works. So Kvyat here will lead another lap, but this time by, not so much. Look, he has to go defensive, so he knows he's under pressure, Paul.
He certainly is, and he's feeling it. Häkkinen, though, he is doing well in the championship. A 3rd in the championship is Häkkinen, so he's really wanting to get some good points here. David Williams, who's 2nd in the championship, though, is in that 3rd place, so David is trying to get involved in this battle as well. But Häkkinen now closing up to the back of Kvyat, heading down towards turn number 3 now, hard on the brakes, carry the speed through that corner, and it's a good exit from both Kvyat and Häkkinen as they head down the straight now, down the moraine sweep. Using that slipstream though is Häkkinen heading towards turn number 5. He's looking to the right-hand side. Now he's going to look to the inside. It's going to be the last of the late breakers. Kvyat gives him the space there. There's a lot of respect between these two. Kvyat wrangling it out wide into the gravel a little bit. There's a spinner behind as well. These two battling for the lead. Still Häkkinen not able to get past, and Kvyat holding on to that position through turn number 7. Johnny, did you see who it was that spun?
And that was Jack Sedgwick. So in the top 5 as well, and then there were 4. So it's a 4-horse race for the lead here.
Still battling away, and these two battling away means that Williams and also Bertolotti have closed right on in to this battle. Reckon about 16.5 minutes remaining. No, not 16.5, 14.5 minutes remaining in this one. So it's not going to be too much longer. About 12-lap race possibly. Looking at with this one through the kink now. You've got to give it a little bit of a dab of brakes, a little bit of a lift through there. But Kvyat holding on to that lead for the time being. I'm sure the headlights will be getting flashed, trying to put off the car in front. Not able to make any moves this Häkkinen as they head through Canada corner, heading towards Bill Mitchell Bend once again towards the end of the lap. And look at how close Häkkinen is now as he's heading through Bill Mitchell Bend, really able to run close to Kvyat. Late on the brakes through the final turn, and Kvyat missed his apex there, able to just carry the speed a little bit. But now up the hill, here comes Williams now, his teammate, Kvyat's teammate, going up alongside Häkkinen, heading towards turn number 1. Don't go 3 wide, guys, please. We've seen how bad that can be at the start of the race. Here comes Häkkinen, looking to the inside. He's not going to make that work, surely. No, he's not. Kvyat He's running it wide through turn number 1. That's going to slow down his teammate Williams as they're heading down towards turn number 3. Fantastic battling here. Bertolotti's just sitting behind, waiting for his opportunity. But through turn number 3 they go, and it's still side by side, and Williams is just going to sneak ahead of Häkkinen. So 2 VRS Clandestine Spot cars, 1 and 2 at the moment. But Johnny, Häkkinen's not giving this one up yet.
No, definitely not. It seems to be the fastest of the 3, so currently in P3. That's not satisfying enough. Here they go into turn 5. Up the inside goes Häkkinen, and that should be P2 away from Williams. No, because Williams has the exit. Here they go again alongside each other. This is where Osgaard lost it a couple laps earlier. This is so difficult through turn number 7 if they go alongside each other here. And there we go. Häkkinen has to yield.
And Williams and Häkkinen now have dropped back 1.2 seconds from the leader. Look at the others catching up to this battle as well. Crouch and also Mangan catch up to that one. Bruno De Carmo is upside down. He's flipping over. It's Bruno De Carmo. Big instant for him after turn number 7. Try and find out what's happened to him. Well, it was Graham Quinn who made contact with him at turn number 7. Bruno De Carmo not having the best of days there.
Wow. That was
battle of second.
Oh, look at this. Williams here alongside Häkkinen. Oh, they're so close to each other. Look at the run from Häkkinen on the exit. You know what, though? Kvyat's now 1.6 seconds in the lead. It's just not what Häkkinen wanted. At least he's in P2, so now he has to reel that advantage down. Can he do it in the next 11 minutes?
He's lost the draft, though. That's the thing. He's lost the draft of the car in front, and that's going to make him a sitting duck to this queue of traffic behind him now. Williams is behind him, then Bertolotti, Kraj and Mangan as well at the back of that train of cars. 5 cars there battling it out for second place, and it's almost a repeat of the Sim Cup. Williams runs a little bit wide there, a little mistake from him. Bertolotti, now he's got the sniff of a podium.
Yeah, you'll get away with that running wide in the Porsche because the car is much more heavier than the Formula Renault, so it will stabilize itself on the grass. Here they go, though, on this second straight. Just progressing nicely through here. Look at the back, though. Oscar Mangan, Vedran Kral. Having a look at Bertolotti. Kral outbrakes himself. That could have taken out David Williams. And now he's lost it on the exit. Oh, comical corner for Vedran Kral.
Yeah, not the best corner then for Kral. Around he goes. He is dropping down the order, and he's trying to get himself. And do you know what? I think he's collected somebody else as well. He's out the race now as Kral, and well, Graham Quinn it was who hit him. So yeah, definitely big instant for him. He's dropped down. Graham Quinn's had to pull over as well. David Williams, though, now 1 second behind Häkkinen, so dropping back that mistake and that instant there into turn number 5, and that's just cost him a good little bit of time there. Heading down towards the kink now. Got a bit of comfort space though behind him. Bertolotti's 6 tenths behind.
But with Williams, though, credit to him there. He knew that Vedran Kral lost the corner, who obviously Vedran now is out of the race and retired officially. Williams actually missed the apex a little bit because he knew that he would have been collected by Kral. So brilliant spatial awareness there by David Williams. That's something that's very underrated, and if anyone's going to give him credit, so I'm going to do it.
Absolutely, he deserves it. It was great awareness, looking in his mirrors, seeing what was happening around him, and you recognise these things, the experience of David Williams. What he doesn't know about GT cars isn't really worth knowing, because he's so experienced in these cars, this type of racing. Yeah. And yeah, he's able to spot that happening and think, do you know what? I'll just keep it out to the right here, let him have his accident, and I'll carry on without any incident.
Yeah, exactly. And so look, it's just, you don't notice that though, because you always notice the guy who's out of control. But Williams definitely need to tip his hat off, or tip our hats off to him. And you talk about a 22-car grid, only 12 runners left in the field. That's been the rate of attrition.
Well, Well, let's hope that this isn't a foreboding of what's going to happen after this race. Of course, you've got the Championship Grand Prix Series coming up after this, so hopefully we don't have things like this happening in that one. But Road America, it does, because it is an older track, so the walls are a little bit closer in. If you have an incident here, you end up going out the race because you end up having race-ending damage.
Yeah, it's fast sweeping corners too, and a lot of the overtaking spots are downhill, for example. Downhill braking zone, you carry much more speed, obviously, than an uphill braking zone because of the fact that gravity doesn't slow the car down in time. You look at turn 1 as well when you're overtaking there. Right-hander, medium speed. It's not a hairpin where you give a light tap to someone. So the walls here, concrete walls too. It's just, you'd think with all that space and all that grass runoff, you'd avoid the walls. But as I said, it's just high speed, this racetrack.
It is, and well, Williams now not really under pressure. About half a second between him and Mario Bortolotti as heading in towards Canada corner. And Joni Häkkinen actually will not be paying attention to him. He was half a second faster on this last lap than Klaus Kivikas, and we'll be able to see what the times are when they cross the line here, heading through the final corner now. But Joni Häkkinen is now back in the slipstream of your race leader, so we could have a battle on for the race win heading towards these final 7 minutes of the race. Of course, it's a 30-minute race, just curtailed a little bit because of the safety car. Across the line that goes. So Klaus Kivikas, a 2 minute 7.5 second lap. Häkkinen, a 2 minute 6.8 second lap. So Häkkinen's really got the bit between his teeth here, Johnny. He's going for that race win.
Yeah, by far the fastest guy on the racetrack. So brilliant stuff from Joni. And I mentioned it before, he was the fastest in the field. It's just whether or not he will finish in that first position. Because now again he has to try and play with the mind of Klaus Kivikas, a very strong mind in that Commander Supersport car. And if he gets past, that'd be a strong achievement for him. Remember, this is going to be the first winner in the field because Jared Filsell isn't here, our championship leader. First winner who isn't Jared Filsell.
Yep, it's going to be a new winner in this championship. And well, who's it going to be? Klaus Kivikas, Joni Häkkinen. The thing is, if these two battle it out a little bit too much, could then draw David Williams, Mario Bortolotti, Oscar Mangan back into that battle. So we could see a 5-car battle for the lead if these two start battling it out and slowing each other up, tripping over each other. This corner, the carousel, is so tricky in a GT car and in the Porsche as they go through there. You've got to just feather the throttle, just get it absolutely right, and then give them the power. You can drift it out of that corner as well, and then into the kink here. A little dab of brakes, get the car hooked up nicely through the apex. Don't clip the curb too much, or you can send yourself into the wall on the exit of the kink. And now down towards Canada corner once again. Heavy on the brakes, down to second gear. You can run it out wide there over the curve. There's a lot of curbing on the exit there. And look at this now. Häkkinen just seems to have the better run through the second half of the lap here, Johnny. It's almost as if Kivikas has got it set up maybe for more the faster, high-speed stuff. But here we go then. Battle for the lead, Johnny. It's on.
Yeah, and Häkkinen got too throttle happy there. It was four-wheel drifting through that final corner. I love calling it four-wheel drifting, even though it's just called drifting in a way. Look at Kivikas, though, on the defensive here. 5 minutes remaining as they cross the line. Häkkinen, don't have a look up yet. Get a little bit closer. He's got the pace. He turns in a bit too early. He could run onto the grass on the exit of turn 1, and he does. So that hampers his exit just ever so slightly. But here's the run he's going to get, Paul, out of turn 3. This is the critical exit he needs. And now he's got the draft to help him all the way down to that downhill braking zone at turn 5.
He certainly does then, and here we go, down through the Moraine sweep. Heading in towards turn number 5, he's going to maybe look out to the inside. Kivikas, though, holding that position. He's deciding against it for the time being. He realises 4 minutes left. There's still chance of a little bit of swapping between the two of them. And just for the time being, holding back here through turn number 6. It's a tricky corner, is that? You don't really see the apex until late there. And it's tricky to get your braking right because you come over that rise. Through 7. you always seem to go a little bit faster than you think you can. You need to wait, downhill braking, clip your apex, let it run out wide, but not too wide because you want to get it over to the left-hand side for the entry into the carousel. And once again, as we were saying earlier, lap earlier, sweeping through here. Kvyat's taking a different line through there. He almost V's the corner off and lets it run out wide, so then you can straighten it up earlier for the exit there, Johnny. Yeah,
and that saves the tyres, but at the same time, he runs off onto the marbles in the dirty part of the racetrack, and we know what iRacing does with the marbles here. You can really slow yourself down through the corner. Turn 12, Canada corner. Heikkinen not so aggressive here. He's got this will be 2 laps remaining as they cross the line, Paul. So I think he's going to get a move done this next lap around. He can't wait any longer.
Well, he's going to have a look here, and he's right up underneath the gearbox then as they're heading in towards the closing stages of the race, the final 2 laps of this race. And here he is in the slipstream. He's got the run out that final corner. He's got the speed through the straight. Over the stripe they go, looking to the outside now, and it's Heikkinen in towards turn number 1. And Kvyat, will he hold on to that position, or will he yield it? Through turn number 1 they go, side by side. Oh, Heikkinen's just running a little bit wide, but gets that position. But straight away, Kvyat looking to the inside of 3. You can't really make the move into there. It's all about carrying the speed and the momentum through this corner, and Heikkinen is in the lead now. Can he hold on to it? He's getting a little bit weavy. He's trying to just get rid of that slipstream as they're going down through the moraine sweep, heading in towards turn number 5 once again, and Heikkinen going defensive. Kvyat looking to the outside. You can carry a little bit more speed around the outside, use the curbing on the right hand side, but Heikkinen shuts that door. He holds on to that position for the time being. Good moves, good driving here, Johnny, from these 2 leaders, but David Williams is catching up to them.
Yeah, then Kvyat was just on the back foot for that whole fight. He was smart though into turn 3. Kvyat faked the move up the inside, so Heikkinen decided to trail brake and carry too much speed on entry, but that glimmer of hope for Kvyat was nothing in the end, because now he has to defend from his teammate David Williams, and next lap around will be the final lap. So Heikkinen did it just in time, and wow, talk about being clutch.
Well, look behind as well. Oscar Mangan is all over the back of Bertolotti. The man who's 4th in the championship is 4th in this race at the moment. But it's in fact Bertolotti who made the move on Mangan, is it? I don't believe it was, but down towards Canada corner, Oscar Mangan, he's all over the back of Bertolotti. He's trying to make that move. Not going to make it this time, but we're going to have, well, 1 more lap of this race to go. The race leaders, there's half a second between them. And, yeah, well, here we go, in towards that final corner there. As I say, half a second between them. They've still got that slipstream, but not close enough really to make a move on your race lead. But here comes Bertolotti and Mangan up the hill then to go across for the start of the final lap. And Oscar Mangan not quite close enough to make the move in towards turn number 1. But if he gets close enough and keeps that gap close through turn number 3, he can then try and maybe make that move down towards turn number 5 here as we're going through. Bertolotti though, holding well, keeping the line in towards turn number 3 now. Able to hold on and look ahead. Kvyat just running a little bit wide onto the dirt there. Ended up just losing a little bit of momentum. He's in the slipstream though of the leader. He's not quite close enough to make a move in towards turn number 5. I don't believe David Williams will attack him. The teammates, they're both fighting, but David Williams is fighting for the championship though. Well, Kvyat as well, he's wanted to try and get a good championship position here. So the 2 teammates you could see battling it out towards the end of this lap through turn number 6 and turn number 7 they go. Still absolutely neck and neck for that 2nd and 3rd place. 4th and 5th are pretty close behind as well, but no change there as they're heading in towards the carousel now. End of the lap coming up shortly. Bill Heikkinen just under half a second ahead of Klaus Kvyat. Kvyat taking that slightly wider line mid-corner and then gets it on the exit, gets it nailed on the throttle in towards the kink for the final time. Through they go, running a little bit wide was Heikkinen over the grass. Mangan's all over the grass behind, able to keep it going straight, keeping out the wall. Heading in towards Canada corner, the opportunities are running out here for Kvyat, and well, time is at 0. we're going to see the checkered flag when they head across the line through Bill Mitchell Bend for the final time. Kvyat's not close enough to make any moves on your race leader, so it's Heikkinen who's going to come out that final corner, gets on the power, does it nice and clean. Up the hill he comes to take the win in round 4 of the RaceSpot TV Simper Cup. Across the line they go. It is Heikkinen from Kvyat and Williams in 3rd. Bertolotti holds on to that 4th place. Great run from then. Tommy Osgaard is was pretty close. In fact, made the move on Victor there on that final lap. So that's a change of position for them. And well, looking further back as well, Tim Weiss and Marcelo Nascimento through the final corner they go. Absolutely neck and neck. But still not able to have any change of position between those two as they go across the line. And Scott McIntyre is way down. He is not going to be doing so. We'll be able to take you through your final positions then, and it is Joni Heikkinen who wins this race then, ahead of Klaus Kvyat by 0.349 of a second. David Williams in 3rd place with Mario Bertolotti in 4th. Oscar Mangan rounding out the top 5. Petri Kotravara, not the best race, started 6th, ended up in 6th, having to have a recovery drive there. Jack Sedgwick in 7th with Tommy Osgaard in 8th place, dropping down from 4th on the grid. Victor Koitala in 9th place with Tim Weiss in 10th. Nascimento in 11th with Scott McIntyre, the last of the runners, in 12th. And well, 22 runners started this one, on the 12 finished. It was a race of attrition there, Johnny.
It was. And look at the top 3 separated by 0.6 of a second. That was incredibly close, but Heikkinen was by far the fastest driver out of those 3. But it's good to see the battle go so close. Just disappointing that Jared Filsella wasn't here today. Would have been good to see how he would have fared compared to these guys. But good to see Mangan as well on the final lap as well. I really liked the fact that he was attacking Bertolotti, the young Oscar Mangan, and hats off to Cedric after his mistake to still finish P7 and only 9 seconds off the lead.
Absolutely. Well, that has been another really good race there. A different type of race from the Porsches compared to the first 3 rounds, but we'll hand it back to Will, and Will, it always produces good racing. As I say, a little bit different, that one, but still fantastic action.
Yeah, and we've got to remember when we talk about attrition as well, part of that was down to the big crash. We saw that meant that the safety car had to come out on track, and it was interesting, of course, to see how Heikkinen, even though he fell back to 1.6 seconds over Klaus Kvyat, he was able to then seal the deal, claim victory, become only the 2nd different winner in the RaceSpot TV Super Cup. And that is all we've got time for, but don't adjust your sets, because in 5 minutes time here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacingLive, it is round number 4 of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Martin Kroenke has won round number 1, round number 2, round number 3. Can he make it 4 in a row here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin? We'll find out in a few moments' time. Thank you to Paul Smith and Jonathan Simone. I'm Will Vincent. We'll see you on the other side.